go. Backwards roll, okay? Do the same thing, we're rolling over our shoulders, okay? So use your hands, use your elbows on the mat, okay? Put your hands up in the air, it's gonna be a lot harder. Use your elbows, all right, I'm gonna take my feet, my toes, go over one shoulder. Repeat the mat, come to my knees, all right? I can either come up and do their position, or I can kind of like windshield wiper, come back into a guard position, back down, go over the shoulders, and coming up off my shoulders, right? If I try to stay on my shoulders, that doesn't work. Okay, roll over to that shoulder, knees to the mat, turn, come back to that guard position. Okay, 2 times. Go. Use your arms, use your elbows, right? Help push yourself, control that roll backwards. We want to be able to go slow with the roll, with our forward roll and backwards roll. You feel where the people around you. Building towards Granby rolls, okay? So a Granby roll is seated in my guard position, lean forward, my head over my knees, okay? I'm going to roll over my shoulders, okay? Rolling over my shoulders. What we're going to start with is just like that backwards roll we did, except I'm going to come back down, basically do toe touches, okay? So I'm going to come up, let myself come, watch my toe touch the mat, come back down. Then go to the other side. Watch my toe touch the mat. Come back down. Okay? So we're going to do that 10 times or 5 times each, however you want to count it. Alright? Focus on coming up on your shoulder. Okay? If you notice, when I do this, I'm not laid across my back. The only thing on the mat is my toe and my shoulder right now. Okay? That's what I want to focus on. Okay? If I try to lay on my back, this gets a whole lot harder. Let yourself come up on that shoulder. Let that toe hit the mat. Push yourself back down. Okay? So spread out a little bit. So do 10 of those or 5 each side, however you want to count. I know some of this stuff is you guys are college students, so you can still have your flexibility and limberness, but head. Watch your toe touch the other side, okay? Instead of saying watch your toes, because that's going to turn your body, turn my shoulders. If I try and leave my head there and do this, you can hear my voice. It doesn't work very good. If I turn my head, I'm going to roll. My body's going to move where it wants to, right? The good thing in jiu-jitsu, I say it all the time, is to watch where you're going, right? Because if I watch where I'm going, generally my body turns itself comfortably to go in that direction. I don't have to think about rolling over a shoulder, moving my hips, moving my shoulders, turning all the parts and pieces. I just look where I'm going, and the rest of me follows, okay? So we want to work on controlling this, right? You know, some of these movements are new, they're goofy, they're silly, but in jiu-jitsu, basically all jiu-jitsu is telling my body to do something and doing it. But that's a lot easier said than done. So, right, all these movements, we want to be able to slow them down as we work on them, be able to control them. Because that way I can do something while I'm in the midst of some of these movements when we start incorporating them. Okay? So, same thing, just touch back and forth, then come down. Alright, do 10 of those. On you guys, go. Really focus on rolling across your shoulders, right? One shoulder's up when your toe is on one side, and then you're rolling across the shoulders, and that other toe is touching, okay? That's the main focus of this one, back and forth. Altogether, yeah. One back, one side is one. One side, other two is two. So you're done. Just left one altogether. Alright. So now we're going to put this all together in a roll, called the granny roll. Okay? So we're going to start seated. Alright? This one I want to focus on keeping my head forward. Okay? Then there's a line above your knees. I want to try and lean forward. I don't have to have my head between my knees. I just want my head to be in that line, right in that plane above my knees. Some of you guys are going to end up sitting back. This isn't going to work very good. You're going to end up just kind of spinning around. Okay? And that's why that's going to happen. I want to sit forward. Alright? Help to start with. Hands inside your own knees. These kind of act like kickstands and help turn you. Alright, so I'm going to start by basically just leaning to my side. Right? I'm going to use my foot. That elbow hits. And I'm pushing, right? Pushing myself into that position. And there I am in that toe touch position we just did. Now I simply move to the other side, like we did. Let myself come back down. Alright? I want to keep my hands forward. This ends up being a whole lot easier. Okay? Keep my head forward, look where I'm going. Go all the way down. Once you've gone once, if you can switch, so that way you're rolling over the other shoulder the next time down. Okay? So 2 times. On you guys, go. Alright, take your time. Roll through. Feel goofy. Tuck your head. Remember, think about keeping your head towards over your knees. Keep your chin up. There you go. Yep.
feet or hands.
He's gonna hurt the
Think about keeping your chin tight. Once you make it happen, like once, keep that chin tucked, or you gotta roll over back your shoulders. Once you make it happen 2 or 3 times, you're like, oh, I got this.
It's a warm-up. We don't usually do this.
Alright, let's go ahead and circle up. Alright, so we're working side control this month, alright, day 1. Got a lot of newer folks, so that's good. So we're gonna start kind of, I'll show you how to, we're gonna use all these movements that we just went through our warm-up. So we're gonna start with some movements from the bottom of side control, alright, and then we'll see how time goes. She'll finish up with an arm bar from the top. So maybe I can use my partner. So we're just gonna work right, kind of rewind to that knee to elbow escape, that first drill, shrimp, whatever you want to call it, how we can use that to move from the bottom of side control. Okay, so David's on top. He's got a good cross face, good position. All right, my first step that I need to do is do something with my hands. All right, because David's trying to take up all the space between him and I. Okay, I need to obviously create some space so I can start to move. I'm going to start doing that, creating structure with my hands and my arms. All right, so you can see my right arm is already inside on his hip. All right, a good habit to get into. You can see I'm facing my palms towards me. Okay. When we first start jujitsu, and even as we continue to train, if I turn my hands, I have a tendency to grab, right? Especially in the gi, we can do that. Once I grab, I never let go, right? We're trying to create space, so I want to keep moving and keep creating that space. So a good habit to get into is turning those palms to you, all right? So I have my right hand in his hip. I'm going to take my other hand, I'm going to work my forearm in on his jawline and up high on his shoulder, okay? Get used to having that hand high up on that shoulder. I can keep that hand down low like this. Some of the sneaky upper belts, or wrist lock you right here. Just lean over and wrist lock you, okay? I want to have that hand up high. Right? So I've created already, so I've started to create that structure. Now, just like that knee to elbow escape, right? I've got to turn to my side. So by doing that, I'm going to lift. All I'm doing is lifting my elbow, right? I'm not pushing my arm out. I'm lifting my elbow, right? You can see that creates just a little bit of space. That's all I need to start moving. Now you guys will feel that when I move just a little bit, that takes pressure off this hip. And that's what I'm trying to move, is this hip, right? So I create my structure, I lift on that elbow, and now I'm gonna, that knee to elbow, right? I turn, bottom leg hits the mat. This is the leg that I'm pushing with. Using my arms, using my leg, push, right? I'm gonna continue to push. Once I get fully extended, I need to come back, again, hand inside, and the same thing again, push. Now at this point, I can either come back into a guard position, or need that hand on the shoulder, I come back up into a neutral position, right? So we're using that knee to elbow position. Right here, just like, all right, just like that drill we just did, right? I'm on my side, my hands in front of me, using this top leg to drive myself backwards. That's creating that space that I want, right? To come back into guard or to escape, have room to work. All right, so again with the partner, on top, right? I've got to get that first hand into that hip, right? This next one comes in underneath. Use that elbow, work under that jaw, right? Wiggle that in there. When you're on top, you'll feel that when that partner finds that right spot, because it gets uncomfortable right there on the jaw, on the neck, right? That's where I want it to be. I wanna make this uncomfortable as I lift this elbow so I can have that space, okay? If I'm way out here not doing a very good job, David's gonna keep his weight low, and I'm not gonna create that space. I gotta work that elbow down in underneath, and then as I have it there, lift on that elbow. Lift on that elbow, I'm gonna turn, and this is where that movement comes in. I want this movement to be explosive, okay? When we're rolling full speed, we're not just drilling, our partner's obviously gonna be trying to maintain side control. He's gonna be trying to stay there and do what he wants to do. So I've gotta be explosive with this movement. I've gotta turn, really come back, right? My partner, when we're rolling, he's gonna be pressuring back into me a little bit. That's what I want, right? I'm gonna keep moving, keep moving. So I have that space, either come back into a guard position, or like you said, you can post on the shoulder, come back up into a neutral position, work from there. Questions? I know it's review for some of you, but new for others, so we're gonna start here and build on it. All right, find your partner, let's work through that. Go 5 and 5 back and forth a couple times. 1, 2, 3. If you're brand new, see if you maybe find somebody that isn't brand new that has a little bit of an idea what's going on.
It sucks. It's alright.
It makes a difference when you're kind of, you're right. You've got that framework there. I mean, obviously, I'll be able to sit there forever, but you don't have that second half, right? Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I can see your leg going there so fast, and just hit before you make any space.
So I can't kind of hit this
Bye.
arms this way now.
You want me to hold your knee?
Give that a shot. Everything else the same, just knock your hands so they're facing you. Remember, I'm just hitting this paint. It's not so much that I'm trying to create a grip. I'm trying to create structure here, and the space comes from lifting my elbows. Yep. Everybody pause for just a second, and just stay where you're at, just sit up and you're here in the middle. Yeah, they're gonna. Okay. If you need to kind of stand up or whatever you can so you can see better. Alright, so now that we're kind of starting to get the hang of this, I'm just gonna point out a couple more of these details, that way, you guys can keep adding to it, right? I know I pointed this out to a couple groups, but focus on turning your hand, your palms towards you, right? Because we have that tendency in jiu-jitsu, we can grip the gi, but when we turn our palms away from us in this position, we start grabbing, right? And then when I move, when I get to here, I can't go any further, and I just keep holding on, And that helps my partner, because it's limiting my space, right? Because I'm holding on to him, basically dragging him with me. But when I turn my palms, I'm gonna want to come out, right? This hand on the hip, I'm gonna swim in, and now I'm posting on the bicep, right? Now, once I get all this space, if I'm gonna come back in, I can turn and use a grip, or I can post up and come out, right? So focus on trying to keep your palms turned towards you, right? Once you continue to train more and you start to understand things, you may change your grip, do things here and there. But for now, through this drill, right? Because if I'm grabbing every single time, these drills basically are repetition, building muscle memory, right? So we want to do them as perfect as possible. That way, we're hopefully doing them well enough when we roll full speed, right? So that's, right, palms towards me, right? Focus on this elbow, right? I'm lifting this elbow, right? Not trying to push David's head away, right? David wants to, all he's got to do is turn that shoulder, drop this shoulder and his head, and I'm not doing anything right there, right? But if I take and turn this elbow up, right, that changes things, right? David drops that shoulder in, there's still movement here, right? I can still move out, right? So focus on lifting that elbow. When you're rolling full speed with somebody today, you're only going to get 3-4 inches of space, but that's all you need, right? I'm not going to get David to sit all the way up here. This isn't going to happen, right? This person's going to pressure back down into you. So if this is your objective, it's going to be a long day for you, right? All I need is a little bit of space. That elbow right there, right? Palms towards me. Now I got to move my hips first. I know a lot of us want to come back into this guard position. So we start bringing this knee in really quick, right? But a good guard player is going to, or a good top player is going to start coming forward with their leg as you move. So if I turn right away, all I'm going to do is run back into side control. So I need to focus on movement, my hip movement, right? That knee to elbow drill that we do. Because I can do that 2 or 3 times. If David keeps working forward, I can keep working backward. Get my space, right? So I'm going to give you guys just a couple more minutes to do that same thing. And now focus on some of those little details. My palms towards me, lifting on that elbow, and then really aggressive, be extra with that hip movement, right? Because when we're going full speed rolling, you're not gonna, that about 30% decrease they say. So really focus on those 3 things.
Can you use that same method if you have your knee in the shoulder or in your armpit? When you still using the same
Like
muscle?
the other, like so this top knee would
Yeah,
be
it's left
inside.
knee in your armpit.
You're talking about more like this, so this arm is isolated on the outside.
Yes, sir.
So if this arm is isolated on the outside, depending upon how much space there is, David really does a good job. It can be difficult. So yes, I may have to change things a little bit. So rather than confuse things, let's just stick with I'm able to get this elbow in, okay? And once we have a handle on this, we can build into that situation. It's a good question, and things definitely change, but I don't wanna overcomplicate things right now with the position we're in, okay? Alright, so work through that a few more times. 1, 2, 3. That makes sense, guys? It's a good question, but I get the answer. I don't wanna change the situation too much. Once you've done it a couple times, that top person, go ahead and apply a little bit of pressure. Right, so that person on the bottom has to focus on those details. If I don't lift my elbow, it's not gonna work. If I don't have that space, they can't, you're not gonna be able to turn back into guards.
That's what. There's little details like. It'll stay with you. That way.
Alright, finish the one you're working on, then let's start back up. Okay, so,
Alright, well, finish today with something fun, right? We can't just drill and move and do all that kind of stuff, you'll never come back. And plus, actually, that's the stuff Dave and I were just talking about, those are the kind of things that, once you continue to train, you hit that purple belt, get to the brown belt level, you figure out that that's what makes your jujitsu better at this point. You're always learning new things and, you know, all that kind of stuff, and that's, you know, definitely the fun part of jujitsu. But the part of, you know, making your jujitsu specifically better is cleaning up these things, finding those transition points and looking for grips before you've, you know, already escaped, rather than escaping that, then being like, okay, now I gotta start with my grips, right? I should be thinking, I can't be a half step ahead if I can't think a half step ahead, so. But we're gonna learn to kind of finish with a little arm bar from the top of side control, right? So a common thing that this person on the bottom is looking for is an underhook. You'll hear that all the time. We stress underhook, underhook, underhook. So David's gonna get an underhook here, right? All I'm doing is I'm trapping this arm. I'm gonna step over the head. Try to move this the right way. So David gets his underhook, right? I come up. I'm gonna post on the head, right? We worked on this some with our arm bar. Those of you that came with our arm bar, we talked about posting on the head. I'm gonna step over, right? My foot against my partner's back, right? Because the defendant arm bar, David wants to get his shoulder back to the mat, right? I want that space off of the mat. So when I step over, I'm stepping foot against his back. You can already see, right? Here's David's shoulder, and here's my leg, right? That placement is important because I'm gonna pivot. And when I pivot, I want my knee in my partner's armpit, right? If I'm up too high, my arm bar is not gonna work. If I'm down too low, I'm gonna giving my partner too much space, right? So when I step, I wanna be right behind that shoulder, right? And I'm trapping and squeezing. You can almost see, right? I talked at the beginning of class about turning my head, turning my shoulders. So I've turned my head and everything's basically facing this direction now. Because the whole idea is to pivot all the way around. So I'm gonna continue to move my head and pivot all the way around. Keeping this arm trapped. You can see, David's underhook is gonna turn into catching that arm, right? So I'm turning, but I'm keeping this arm here. All right, this is where it changes just a little bit. A traditional arm bar, right, we let go, we have it here in front of us. On our chest, with that underhook, I'm trapping it in my own armpit, okay? You can see that foot has come behind the shoulder, so you keep that shoulder off the mat. This leg has come around on top. I'm trapping that arm, and then sit back slowly. This doesn't take very long here. When you get the arm bar in the armpit, it happens pretty quick, right? A lot of leverage, pull on that shoulder, that biceps, right? So again here, the key part is the movement. So David gets his underhook, starts to work up. I'm gonna post on the head and step, right? So I'm pinching right here. Got my knee on this side, my leg on this side, I'm pinching my partner. If I have space, David's just gonna turn back to his back, then come out of the defend arm bar, right? So I've gotta take away that space. He gets his underhook, starts to sit up, post on the head, step, right behind the shoulder. Now I'm pivoting, right? This is my movement right here. Pivoting around. See, transition, the grip changes into my armpit. Sit into the mat. Let your butt hit the mat, okay? Don't drop all the way to your back. When I get to here, same thing. I'm pinching my thighs to control that shoulder. My foot has come behind his knee, or behind his shoulder, not his knee. That helps me keep that shoulder off the mat, okay? Because David's going to try to turn that shoulder down to the mat to defend it, right? But by
having my foot under there and squeezing my thighs, right? Now that keeps that shoulder locked and off the mat. Now all I do is focus on sitting back to finish the arm bar. Okay, so that key movement is here, right? I've stepped over, and I'm turning this way, right? I've stepped over, I'm turning this way. I'm about turning your knee into his armpit. And then coming here, pinching. You see it one more time, or are we trying?
One more time.
One more time? All right. Starting in side control, our partner is going to reach for that underhook. Okay? I'm going to come up, post on the head, big step, behind the shoulder. This is our turn. See? My knee turns right into his armpit. That's it. Pinching the shoulder, foot behind it, this hand in my armpit, and let's just slowly sit back, finish the arm bar. Alright, let's give it a shot. 1, 2, oh, sorry.
I see new people, this is a good time to learn to tap, okay? So as soon as you feel it, I want you to tap. Okay?
Yeah, yep, you'll start to see, so an arm bar is just a hyperextension of the elbow, right? You guys are college kids, you'll understand what hyperextension means. Okay, so that's what this does, is it puts the fulcrum below your elbow, you pull up here, forearm wrist, and it starts to hyperextend that elbow, okay? When you start to feel it pull, just tap, even a little bit before then. After you get arm barred 15 times in one day, your arm's sore no matter what, alright? Alright, let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
Really slow. Like, you also before it's like a get out of the way. Like, yeah.
I need it.
You go to that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I'm gonna. Switch the grip.
No, you're not supposed to fall on your back.
Yeah.
That where you make
He just steps over, right? So it's like, we're doing it right. It's just like a little awkward.
That's time.
Yeah, you lean back. All right. One more. Like drilling stuff like this makes you so nervous. And then you grab it. You can grab it. So you just see it over here, here, or you can grab the knee. You grab like this right there, whatever comfortable. Here, and then over like this. Yeah. You're gonna pinch your knee and then lean it down. Perfect. That's the way it is. Okay, so you either kind of get up on the shoulder, then I makes sense. That's already wrong. So, like, when you get these, like, come up like that, yeah, because then it's
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That definitely felt better.
yeah, that's it's the word.
Yeah, because I guess they're trying to escape from yeah, trying to scoot it up. There. So then you get I guess I'm here.
I can't see nothing.
No, because even when you didn't have me in your hand, that's definitely the
You gotta get the underhook on it out. I guess I step further than
Everybody pause for just a second. Stay with your partner. Stay where you're at. Just turn and look in the middle here. We're kind of getting the movements and kind of starting to figure it out. So I'm going to help you see the kind of the same problem or trouble spot in several groups, right? So David gets his underhook and sits up. So first thing I want to do is I want this grip, okay? I'm not keeping a whizzer underneath here. If I keep this whizzer, it's going to make it, I'm going to twist myself up. Think about a chicken wing, right? Like a flapper. All I'm trying to do, I just cup the back of the shoulder and take my elbow, because I want to focus on keeping his arm in my armpit as I rotate, right? So I'm just making like a flap, like a chicken wing. I cup the back of the shoulder, trap his arm, and now I'm going to step, right? Let myself turn, right? If you see my toes, see my feet, right? As I turn, they turn, right? Because if I leave my feet here and I start turning, I'm putting myself in a bind, I'm twisting myself. So let your body turn, right? So I've got my grip, just like I said, I'm focused on keeping this chicken wing, little wing poked tight here. And let myself turn. Hit the mat, okay? Some of you I know are ending up with this, the thumb is down, okay? If that thumb ends up being down, and I can't finish my arm bar here, right? All I have to do is focus on keeping the same thing. Here's that chicken wing. I reach back and cover. Focus on pinching, right? There's my traditional arm bar, right? Right on top. I can turn that thumb, then finish my arm bar. Up on top of my chest like we drill all the time, right? So again, that grip on top of the shoulder. I'm just cupping it and trying to keep his wrist, forearm, my partner's wrist and forearm trapped in my armpit. And then let yourself turn your feet, turn your knees, turn your hips. Let yourself, right, turn as you come around. And then like I said, if that thumb ends up down, kind of almost like you're in a Americana position, you can reach back, grab that hand, slide it forward, and finish your arm bar that way. Okay, got a couple minutes left, let's finish up that way. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, yeah.
And then on this one, how do you get that close? Like right behind the shoulder. Because I feel like we're both working either of us doing that. So look, you there. Like this. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's That's way down.
Yeah, that was a little smoother because before I was like,
It was way better.
yeah, that was. Yeah, trying to like figure out how to hold it together.
You do it again, but remember to push my neck. It's like, it was more space.
So I'm like, oh, shoot. It's definitely way smoother. I'm trying to like skip around. Yeah, it's like trying to drag myself.
Yeah, you don't need any motions.
Yeah, so.
And I don't like it all.
Pull it out. Make sure it's not all the way up.
I did it how we did it, and then I was like, wait, I can just lift his arm like, yeah.
His arm doesn't work.
Oh, that means you're really good for jiu-jitsu.
No, because that means
That's when you
it'll
just-
break one day.
That's when you just.
Pinch knees, keep good. Pinch the knees. Other than that, it was like super smooth.
Didn't put my hand on your shoulders. The way we were doing it.
Okay. I didn't even notice. There. Oh, sorry. I thought you were waiting for me. Yeah. I couldn't move that. Oh, really?
There you go,
Making this work at the speed that's definitely
It feels way better.
I just need to turn to then get that shoulder down, and then I'm either gonna miss it or I'm gonna just be doing it like this.
That's right. This leg's supposed to be.
Yeah, that leg's supposed to be over.
Yeah.
This one's supposed to be over. I'm good. I was good. It didn't hurt. It wasn't hurt.
I'd rather have it not hurt.
You said it wasn't hurting yet. Other way. Step over his head. Yeah. You want you're making that look straight, not bent. Does that make sense? You're, Americana. But, let's look at that.
As soon as you said that.
Nice.
Alright, finish the one you're on, then circle back up.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I always go until I feel like I was
Yeah, no, that's where it's
That class is open that.
Alright, I know I floated around, answered some questions, we worked on a few things, did anybody have a question that didn't get answered?
I sure would get it before.
Okay, alright, is everybody staying for the open mat, or is somebody leaving? Everybody staying? Alright, I'll turn the timer on, turn some music on if you need a drink quick, and we got a big group, so if you need to, if you're not rolling, take a seat on the boxes. If you are, just keep a heads up for the groups that are around you, alright? Alright, 1, 2, 3.